Before releasing music on DistroKid, I highly suggest watching this entire video. I've been using DistroKid for 10 years. I've done a bajillion videos about them, and I gotta say, there are a lot of things you should know before releasing music. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the 10 things you really have to be aware of before having your first release on DistroKid. Number 1, your artist name. This is by far the biggest thing. Before we even release music, think a lot about your artist's name because changing it, switching it is very difficult. There are a lot of complications. Here's what I suggest to do. And it's kind of tough now, being honest, in this day and age. Google or search for your potential artist name. If there's any other artists with that same name, do not use it. Just trust me when I say this, and I know, in this day and age, there are a lot of people, a lot of artist names, a lot of them have been taken up. You do have to get creative, whether it's with the spelling, the order of words, whatever the case is, but just trust me on this. Make sure that when you find your artist name, the one after doing a lot of digging that doesn't exist, it's custom to you, make sure you're very sure about it. If you're comfortable with it, you're excited about it, it has that ring that you want, because trust me when I say, if let's say you release an album, and then a year later you decide, you know what, I kind of want to change my artist name, I'm just not really feeling it, you're going to incur a lot of complications. Number 2, pricing. How much does DistroKid cost? Being super straightforward, 25 bucks a year. That's it. 25 bucks a year for unlimited uploads, no hidden fees, no hidden costs. Although, there are some add-ons. Number 3, the add-ons. So when it comes to releasing music, after you fill in all the data, which we will talk about, at the end you have a list of add-ons that you can do that are special bonuses and stuff that you can spend extra money for. I'm gonna be blunt, I don't really think any of these are worth it. I just gotta be honest, the Leave It Legacy one potentially, in case you don't know, the Leave It Legacy add-on, which is $29 for a single or $49 for an EP or an album, makes it so that your music never leaves stores. In case you didn't know, when it comes to your payment on DistroKid, if let's say something happens to your credit card, if let's say for whatever reason, your payment doesn't go through on DistroKid, and let's say just for whatever reason you just stop paying, your music will be removed from stores. So the Leave It Legacy option puts it in place where they say, hey, no matter what, if let's say your credit card information doesn't go through, whatever happens, your music will never leave stores. Now, I do want to say as a side note, because this has happened to me before, it looks like your credit card doesn't go through. There's been some times where my credit card number switched, right? And the old one got blocked or, of course, didn't go through. I will say you do have like maybe a few weeks, maybe a month of DistroKid reaching out to you saying, hey, your credit card isn't really working. What's going on? And then at some point, they will remove it. Tough to say exactly on the timeline. But anyway, jumping back to the main point of the add-ons, I just don't really think they're worth it for most people. Now, maybe for some specific people in some specific cases, yes, maybe they can be worth it or a bit more beneficial or useful. But overall, for most musicians releasing music, I just say save your money. I also want to say 2 important things on this point. 1, Shazam is included when you release music automatically. In case you don't know, Apple Music or Apple now owns Shazam. So when you do release music and you see all the different stores and Apple Music is automatically checked, that also includes Shazam. The second thing I want to say is mastering. So after, let's say you release a song, you're going to get a second page that says, hey, do you want this to be mastered by us, or you release the original version? For me, I always do the original version. I also master my own music. I've been producing music for years and years. So for me, I like the way my music sounds, the way it stands. This is something, gonna be honest, I do think does depend upon the person. If let's say you just started producing, and let's say your record maybe is not the best mix or master, I will say using an automatic algorithmic mastering tool usually is not as good as humans, although I will say AI is getting very good, so maybe at some point AI mastering will be maybe a lot better than humans, but in that case, I also feel like you should save your money, unless your mixer master is really, really bad. But overall, like I said, when it comes to all the pricing, all the add-ons, everything, most of the add-ons, most of the stuff is not worth it, except actually one really important one, and that is Beatport. I want to talk about this especially for my DJs and electronic artists on this video. In case you didn't know, this is the way DistroKid works. When it comes to you releasing your music, all the stores are included. All the stores are included except one that you do have to pay for, and that is Beatport. Now, in case you don't know, Beatport is one of the biggest staples in electronic music. It's kind of like the Apple Music or Spotify specifically just for EDM. Now, when it comes to Beatport, when you first release music on DistroKid, you will see it as an add-on because Beatport does cost extra money. Here's the unfortunate thing, I'm gonna be honest. Beatport is $10 a month. It's a subscription. It's $10 a month to release music on Beatport. You're looking, which is very unfortunate, at about $120 a year. And I have to be honest, I can be blunt, if you're an EDM artist, if you're a DJ and everything, you gotta do it. I'm just gonna be blunt, I have no relation with Beatport or anything. You gotta do it. And I will say this, for me in the beginning, I was like, oh man, $10 a month. Like after 2 months of releasing music on Beatport, that equals my DistroKid membership pretty much. But here's the thing, is at a certain point, once your music gets more popular, it gets rolled out, it starts getting more publicity and whatnot, I'm now making way more than just $10 a month. So for me, it's now a net positive. But I know in the beginning, when it comes to releasing music, it might take a little bit, it might take a little steam, but just trust me, Beatport, if you're an EDM artist, you pretty much have to be on it. Super important. Number 5, the Songwriter Name. This is very, 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 very important. Very, very important. When it comes to releasing music on DistroKid, you have your main artist name. Like say it's Joe Schmo. Don't pick Joe Schmo, by the way. I guarantee there's a million Joe Schmos out there, but just use as an example, your artist name is Joe Schmo. You know, when it comes to releasing music, there's gonna be a point when once your real name, and this is imperative, like say your real name is Bob Smith, or let's say, to add in a middle name, Bob Jones Smith. Make sure that is 100% correct. I have had some people say, hey Mark, you know, when it comes to my songwriter real name, do I have to put in my real name or can I put in a fake name or another fake name? Do not do that. Make sure your songwriter real name, you, is exactly your real name, your actual legal name. Number 6, file type. This is a huge one that I think a lot of beginning artists tend to overlook given the way just technology has moved. And that is this. When it comes to uploading your actual file, your actual song file as the most uncompressed, highest quality format you can. The biggest staple, being honest, is gonna be WAV, W-A-V. A WAV file is kind of the standard. This is what most DAWs automatically bounce out your song in, like Ableton, for example. The issue is for some artists, I think because back in the day, MP3s became very popular. What MP3s are, is they are very compressed, meaning the sound quality isn't as good, but the file size is very, very small. And MP3s really blew up back in the day because back in the day, there really wasn't streaming. You just downloaded the actual files, put it on an iPod or some type of device that you listen to, and there was a limit, right? You have, like, say, like a gig, like say, which is crazy to look back on. You only had a gig for all your music. WAV files, because they're so big, you can take up a lot of space super fast. But with MP3s, super, super small, so you can fit more music on, let's say, a gig iPod, for example, right? This is a big selling point back in the day where, oh, fit 1,000 songs just in your pocket. Maybe some people might just out of habit still release their music as an MP3 or upload it as an MP3. Do not do that. Make sure your files are in the most uncompressed, highest quality format, the most standard format by far, WAV. Number 7, preview clip start time. If I had to pick one that like most artists overlook or don't really fully understand, it's probably this one. This is the way it works, which sounds simple at first, but this is very important. Trust me when I say this is very important. A preview clip start time is this. When someone goes to preview your song on, like say, iTunes before they buy it, or on TikTok or Instagram, which is very important, and they want to preview it, it's that like 20-second preview of what your song sounds like. That's it. Pretty simple at first, it seems like. Here's the thing. What a lot of services and stores and whatnot will do is just pick a random time. They might just put it at the start of your song. They might pick a random timestamp. You want to make sure it's custom. You want to listen to your song, and what I suggest doing is, let's say you're doing an EDM song, listen to the song and pick the timestamp maybe right before the drop. So maybe like, I'm just making this up. Let's say your drop's at 1 minute. 1 minute is when the song drops. Maybe have it be at 55, 56 seconds. So you hear a little bit of a build. Then, like, say, the vocal before the drop, if there is one, then the drop. Do that. Let's say you're a rock musician. Let's say you're another artist. There's not really an EDM drop, but the chorus. Maybe put that timestamp, maybe right at the chorus or something. And here's the main reason why. One, that's the peak of the song. That's the climax. So if someone is previewing it for whatever reason, whether they want to listen to it or use it, whatever, if someone is previewing it, they're hearing the best part of the song, which is important, right? They're like, ooh, this is great. Because let's be honest, if like your intro, and most intros of some songs are kind of slow, you kind of setting the stage for what's about to come. You want to make sure it's custom. So they're hearing the best part of the song. The second thing though, and this is huge for social media, which is why I brought up Instagram and TikTok, is when someone goes to use your song on Instagram and TikTok, they can scroll through the song and pick any part they want. Most people know this. But let's be honest, if they don't know your song and they hit preview and it's a boring part, why would they be like, yeah, you know what, let me listen to it some more. Let me add it into my editor and then scroll through it. No, they're just gonna pick another song. And if you have the best part of your song being appeared, they're gonna listen to it and be like, oh wait, this is good. I'm gonna use this song in my video. This happened with me for my song Lionel Messi. I went viral on TikTok, and when I first released it, I didn't do this preview custom thing. And it was just the intro of the song, which again, is an EDM song, just kind of setting the stage. Didn't really do anything on TikTok. I got a few videos here and there, but not anything crazy. Then I went back and re-edited the release, which you can do on DistroKid. It's a bit limited, but you can re-edit your release in some ways. One of them being your custom preview start time. So if you've already released music on DistroKid, you can do this. I went back, picked the section that I thought was the best, which it builds up, and then there's a quote from an announcer that says, Messi leading the way, then the song drops.
Messi leading the way!
So I did that. So now when you previewed my song on TikTok or on Instagram or other platforms, huge build, Messi leading the way, and then it drops. And at that point, that song literally almost overnight, since I did that, blew up. Because now when someone went to make a song about football or Messi or whatever, and they typed in Messi, like say under the search query on TikTok for like say a song they wanted to use, and they previewed my song, build, great vocal right before the drop, great sample, and then it would drop. Huge. I cannot stress this enough. Pick a really good custom preview start time. Number 8, custom label name. Now this one you don't have to do, but I really like it. Now I said before, earlier in the video, $25 a year is the main plan for unlimited uploads. Only $25 a year. Now there is another plan called the Musicians Plus account, which is $45 a year or $20 extra a year. And one of the added features is a customizable label name, meaning when you typically release music on DistroKid, your main label is DistroKid. No offense to DistroKid, but I find that kind of tacky. I just don't like it, being honest, just for me personally. So you can pay an extra $20 a year and you can create your own customizable label name. You don't have to have an LLC. You don't need a website. You don't need any of that. It's a text box. Super simple. It's a text box. You literally type it in. That's it. So for me, I created my own label name called Meta Music Records. That's it. I'm the only one on it. That's kind of it, being honest. I'm the only one on it. But hey, what's kind of cool about this is when you go to release music, it says my name, so Ficero is my artist, and then label, Meta Music Records. To me, I kind of like that ring better. I kind of like the fact that it's like my own label. It seems a bit more professional. I feel like releasing it on DistroKid, again, no offense to DistroKid, I just don't like that look. So for me, well worth the money. One thing I do have to mention though, which is kind of frustrating, this does not work on Beatport. As far as I know, it's the only service that this does not work on, where when you release music on Beatport, like I talked about earlier, the Beatport add-on, when you do release music on Beatport, it is unfortunately still under the DistroKid name or label, which kind of is annoying. I'm really hoping that changes. Besides the point though, for every other service, that extra $20 a year, well worth it to have a custom label name. Number 9, waiting and promo. I want to talk about this because here's the way it works. Look at DistroKid as the middleman between you and all these services. Spotify, Apple Music, Audio, Deezer, Tidal, the list goes on, YouTube Music, etc. Here's the way it actually works. DistroKid, when you first release that to DistroKid, they review it. They're like, okay, good album artwork, good file size, does everything look correct? Okay, they send it off to stores. And the first time you release music, all the stores are going to make your artist account for you. You really don't have to do anything. It's actually pretty awesome, pretty seamless, and pretty easy. A lot of people want to know, do I have to create an account for this, and this? No. If, let's say, you want special features, like say on the back end, you kind of have to do it for each one individually. So for example, if you want to do, let's say, Spotify for artists, where you get special access to your analytics, your stats, and whatnot, because I'm not going to lie, the stats in DistroKid aren't the best. You do have to do it for each one. So I have Spotify for artists. I have Amazon Unlimited for artists. I have Apple Music for artists. Kind of annoying if you have to do it for each one, but when you initially release music, all the stores themselves individually, they'll create all your artist accounts for you. You don't have to do anything. And I say this because a lot of artists, when it comes to releasing their first ever song or album or EP, and I remember being in this position, get too, I'm gonna call it like promo happy. Where they're like, hey guys, check this out. It's my new song. Wait, because some people prefer Apple Music. Some people prefer Spotify. And it might take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, tough to say exactly, for all your artist account to be created. It might take a little bit for all of them to be fully processed. It might take a little bit for all this kind of stuff to look and feel the way it should. And so that's why I suggest in the beginning, you just did your first release or you're about to, wait for promo. I think especially if you're first time ever releasing, because Spotify has to make a whole new artist. Audio, whole new artist, etc., etc. Beatport, if you do that add-on, whole new artist. Give it time. Give it a couple weeks. Make sure it's on all these platforms. You have that new artist account on all these platforms, and then you can start talking about it. Number 10, payment. How do you get paid? How does payment work? I'm gonna make this very straightforward because it can get very tricky when it comes to the music business, which kind of sucks. The music business is so annoying when it comes to the timing of payment, but to be super straightforward, it takes from the time a stream or a download happens, about 2 to 3 months for that money to appear on your DistroKid account, and then it's about 1 to 14 business days after it appears in your DistroKid account for you to cash it out. That's the way it works. So for example, let's say you release a song on January 1st. Here's the timeline. Well, remember, I said give it a couple weeks. New artist accounts, it's going to create everything. You want to wait a little bit. So let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to start promoting my song on January 15th. Halfway through January, in the beginning of the year. You start promoting it. Then let's say people start streaming it and downloading it on January 15th. Like say right away, they start streaming it and downloading it and everything. You're looking at about March 15th-ish to April 15th-ish, like I said, 2 to 3 months from the time it was streamed, for that money to appear in your DistroKid banking section. And then once you hit a certain threshold, it does depend upon if you're using, like say, direct deposit, wire transfer, whatever, what that threshold is, you can then cash out. And it takes, like I said, about 1 to 14 business days for it to actually then finally appear in your account. So keep that in mind. In the beginning, especially in the beginning, it's gonna seem like literal months, forever for you to actually get your first payment. But here's the thing. Once you kind of get that first payment, that ball is rolling, right? So you're going to get paid, like say 2 or 3 months from that stream on, like say January 15th, but then on January 16th, and then 17th and 18th. Once you start getting those streams and downloads consistently, every single day or every single week or however it works, you're going to be getting paid consistently. And now a bonus point of something you should know about before releasing music is PROs, performance rights organizations. When it comes to performance rights organizations, there are another way that you get paid, and this could easily be an hour-long video. This could be very, very technical, so I'm scraping the surface here. The best way to think of this is this. If, let's say, a radio station plays your song, did they stream it? Well, not really. Did they download it? Well, I guess it depends if they downloaded it before they played it, but they're more performing it. They're more performing it out. And that's a whole other side of the coin. DistroKid does not collect performance royalties. They do not. So you want to make sure you sign up with, let's say, ASCAP and BMI here in America. There are different performance rights organizations all around the world. Like I said, here in America, the 2 biggest ones are ASCAP and BMI. Now, one platform I do use is Songtrust. I have a link listed below in the description if you want to check them out. That's what I use, because what they do is they take the royalties from performance rights organizations from all around the world. And you want to make sure that whether it's through Songtrust or other platforms, other services, whatever the case is, you want to make sure that you're getting paid not just from DistroKid, which collects, of course, the payments, like say, from streams and downloads, but you also want to get paid on the other side of that coin from performance rights organizations that collect the performance royalties from Spotify, radio stations, anywhere your music's being played and performed. And a second bonus point now, doing 2 bonus points on this video, finishing it off with a big one, AI music. Can you release AI music on DistroKid? The answer is yes. I did do a video about this where I got an official statement from DistroKid that said basically, yeah, as long as the AI music itself does not contain any copyrighted works from other people, and you want to look into this. A lot of AI music generators actually have been caught taking copyrighted material from other artists, other songs, and putting them in. I will say now, at this day and age, if you're using a good one like Suno or Udio, you don't really have to worry about that as much, but you still want to be aware of this. But in general, if it's fully original and Suno or Udio made it, I've done a bunch of videos on this channel about AI music, you can release it on DistroKid. I will say it's a tricky landscape. I think, being honest, right now, a lot of streaming services don't really know how to handle it. They don't know if they want to prioritize it or not. Like Deezer says, they will now not recommend AI music on their platforms and their algorithmic recommendations. They only want to recommend human music, but you can still have your AI music on Deezer and you can still make money from it. So again, I think that's a good balance in my opinion. But other stores are trying to figure out their own stuff. So I will say right now, the whole concept and aspect of releasing AI music is very tricky. I think it's a huge mess. That's all I'm going to say. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this specific video, if you're watching it, looking to release AI music, and I've done a lot of videos about AI music generators, releasing it, you can definitely do so on DistroKid.